Well, the conversation has sort of begun in the studio, some 32 minutes after 7. Welcome to AM Talk. Amazing guests we have here this morning. Two issues that we're tackling. The bigger one really is the Electoral Commission and the names that have come up from yesterday. We'll be looking at some of the concerns. One of my guests thinks some legal hurdles could crop up. We'll get into those issues as well. We'll talk about the free SHS. Let me just introduce to you my guest, private legal practitioner, Mr. Martin Pebo is here this morning. Good morning to you. Thank you for coming. Emmanuel Chidamating Ejakon is Member of Parliament for Ayawaso West Wagon constituency. He chairs the Environment, Science and Technology Committee. He's a member of the Health and Government Assurance Committee of Parliament. Good morning to you,
How did you
sir.
get all these details?
Well, I did my homework.
Okay.
Mr. Roxon Nelson Eche Komi Dafiamokbo is Member of Parliament for South Dai constituency in the Volta region. He's on two committees in Parliament, the Judiciary and the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. He's also a lawyer. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear.
Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure.
I want
a very good debater.
So we'll have a very good conversation. Fruitful. Let's start with the free SHS. I want to spend just a little time on free SHS and we'll go heavy on the Electoral Commission and the names and the issues that are coming up. Mr. Jaco, I think I want to start with you because you listened to our review this morning and you have some concerns following that.
Yeah.
Well, I think essentially what we're trying to say was that free SHS is good, but perhaps with all the challenges that we're being faced with now, we should have listened to some dissenting opinions then. We should have taken our time and looked at this very well instead of go wholesale.
Very well. I think that, yes, like I said, good morning to you, my co-panelists, and good morning to viewers, especially those from my constituency, the good people of Ayawaso West Wagon, who by the grace of God and their help put me in Parliament. I always remember this one. I listened to you this morning. And I must admit, I was a little agitated about the way some of the things were going. You see, I have various schools, various shades of opinion, various things are said about free SHS. The position of the minority at the time of elections was that, oh, we have even started it, we are doing progressive, and they insist that is the lawyers say the spirit, but this one is the word of the Constitution. Our party and our leader, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who is president, was emphatic and said, I will start it. You see, I think that we must get it very clear. Recently, in all these Brexit things that is happening in the UK, today, last week, the British Prime Minister said something which I think, he says, to lead is to choose. She told all the people, to lead is to choose. We have made a choice. Britain went to the polls and made a choice. So let's go on. Similarly, I think what I don't like is for anybody to think that my party and our leader, the president, has been flippant about this matter. No, we have not been flippant about it. We are not taking anything for granted. We knew from day one that there were consequences. I want to state that in our own lives and in our own living, we are confronted on a daily basis with issues like this. Everybody wants to build a house. Every sane person, when they start life, hopes to build a house. But against building a house, there are issues about paying for our children. There are issues about taking care of our family. There are things that will come up in the family. There's a debt, you must take care of it. So when it comes up, you know that you need to pay to build a house. But when your child's school fees comes up, you stop and take care of that. When good times come, then you go back to the house. Look, from day one, I insist from day one, we knew that this was going to be a heavy toll on the budget. We knew that the logistics were not all there. But against it, Is anybody saying, like it is this year, almost 500 children of our children from Paga to Nzulezo took the BECE. If we didn't do anything about it, over 200,000 of them, through no fault of theirs, cannot be placed. Is anybody saying that, well, the logistics are not there, the classrooms are not there, the teachers are not there? What can we do? We'll just throw up our hands in the air and let them. 200 children at the age of 14 and 15. We should just let them sit in the house because we want to do something and we are not ready. We haven't thought through it. We have been confronted with a situation. No. For me, it takes a bold leader to decide that in spite of this, we must do something about it. I want to applaud Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the MPP government that we are not allowing 200,000 children to sit at home and do nothing. We know the story in this country. So
was this double intake situation, where we are headed to from September, was it considered? Did we know about this?
But I am not in that high position to know. But look, for me, it is that my applause is that we have found a pragmatic solution to this.
Irrespective of the challenges.
Yes, but the challenges must bring the solutions. Look, this is not the first time. First and foremost, let me say that this is not the only country that is doing this. Even in the US of A, they do some of it sometimes. They do it in Kenya. They do it in Japan. It is not novel. We are not claiming a trademark for this. Okay. In this country, over 50 years ago, when the first president, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, decided that every child must have basic education, at that time the meaning of basic education was from class 1 to middle school living certificate. I decided that every child must go to school, compulsory. But he was confronted with the same situation. There was not enough classrooms. So that is when shift started. This is very different from it.
Let me go
secondly, that is when there were not enough teachers and there were not enough training colleges. So that is when people's teacher really became people's teacher. When you finish from 5 and you can go and teach for a year or two before you continue. But maybe for all we know, even you, maybe you want to shift.
Of course I did.
So if you didn't go, if there was that opportunity
but is it the same conversation right now? I mean, is it the same thing that we're talking about?
It is about the same thing. What is different? We are confronted with a situation where we have 200,000 of our children who might miss out, 14-year-olds. And we know the situation in this country. If we don't take care, half of the girls, I say this advisedly, I say this with tongue in cheek, let nobody misquote me, but the reality that confronts us is that when you leave a 14 or 15-year-old girl in a house with nothing to do, bad old men will begin to do all sorts of things, and before you realize, your 15 or 16-year-old girl is...
Senior, what are you insinuating?
I'm not insinuating anything, but that is the reality. That is the reality of our lives.
How about bad young men?
Bad men. Okay. Bad men, boys and girls. Boys. Bad male gender. It can be old men, it can be young men. I think the young men do more than the old men. You know, this is
let me come to you,
for me, anybody who thinks that this is bad, this is unheard of, I think it is unconscionable. I think I would go to the extreme and use. I think it is wicked for anybody to say that we should leave 200,000 children on the streets doing nothing.
Mr. Asamoah, I don't know when you heard about this intake, but I think one of the concerns has been, isn't this too sudden? And this is beginning September. You think parents are ready for this?
Thank you very much. Let me use the opportunity to say good morning to my constituents in Peki, Kpali, Kweve, Tongo. And let me also use the opportunity to, today is the 6th year that President Mills died.
Oh, okay.
Exactly 6 years today.
Okay.
And we are still mourning him.
Oh.
May his gentle soul rest in the bosom of the Lord.
Yes. I see the same.
You see, they have been very flippant and whimsical about the implementation of the free SHS policy. My sincerest hope is that if indeed this is a political promise they want to deliver on, there are certain indices, there are certain checklists you must look at. Do you have the sufficient infrastructure for a successful takeoff? So if I were the NPP, I will complete some of the E-blocks. And what we speak of is at the middle section of our educational structure. All right? From class 1 to JSS 3, there's an exit. The issue is with the secondary subsector, not tertiary. We are not talking about tertiary. What have they done? Friday morning, they sprung this policy on everybody. And my position and the position of the minority is that if you intend to implement such a major fundamental shift in secondary school administration, do a stakeholder consultations. You don't introduce the policy before you do ex post facto consultations. It won't serve the purpose. I am asking, have they conducted orientation seminar for teachers yet? No. They have only spoken to headmasters. And let me tell you the implications of the implementation of this policy. The term system has 66 days. Then you go on vacation. So 66 times 3 will give you about 208 days for a year in contact hours. The new policy they are seeking to introduce will give you 81 days per semester. Then you exit. You go on vacation for 40 days. By the necessary implication of this, you are reducing contact hours by about 40-something days.
I don't think so.
No, by about 46 days.
Do you have the? I think we have a publication.
Yes, you have a
Indeed.
publication. I am doing this analysis based on the policy document you have put out.
I don't have. Can you find one? Can you find one so that we'll?
We'll work on that.
All right. Now, because in their own policy document they admitted that because the implementation will lead to a cut down on the contact hours, on the teacher-student contact hours, they were going to now ask the students to come back on Saturdays for purposes of teaching English and mathematics. What's wrong with it? Hold on, there's nothing wrong. But what happens to the other subjects? That's my point. The other subjects that we have lost contact hours, for instance, in general science, integrated science, technical dom, what happens to them? Now, the other wrongful presumption upon which they are proceeding in this matter is that they think Saturday is available. They think Accra is Ghana. But Accra is not Ghana. The implication of the introduction of their policy has led to the fact that last year, 70% of admissions were for day students and 30% boarders. So the chunk of the beneficiaries under the free SHS are day students. So they are in their houses and they come.
No,
oh.
I think we should get this.
No. I have done this work. I've done the analysis. So you listen to me. And those day students, the other unfortunate fallout of the implementation is that they didn't take into consideration the locality of the students they were admitting. So we had a situation, and Joy last year, you did a story on some of these things. You had a situation where you have a 13-year-old from Wa who had been admitted to Inside Secondary School in Second or in the western region.
In Inside.
And she's been admitted as a day student. She's therefore supposed to look for an accommodation all over the place. So now I'll leave the generals and move to the specifics. I'll use my district. You admit somebody from Ajebu to Peki Secondary Technical as a day student. Necessarily, she must look for an accommodation. And they are all over. Every day I am confronted to paying accommodation or rent for them. And legally speaking, you can't be contracting tenancy agreement with 14 and 15-year-olds. But that is what some landlords are doing. Now, you are asking those people that when it is Saturday, they must come back to school. You think they won't go to their parents for sustenance to go and support them in the primariness of their everyday business so that they can come back on Monday to go to school? So these are the clear implications. The other implication too is that you are saying that the teachers that teach, for instance, stream A, the teachers that teach, for instance, stream A, when they are going on vacations, the teachers will go with the students. And you are giving us an assurance that you are recruiting about 8,000 teachers. But you see, the experience from secondary teaching is that you allow the more experienced teachers to teach the senior classes. So, for instance, if I am in SS3, the more experienced literature teacher will teach SS3 literature, and the less experienced but not less competent will take Form 1. So that Form 1 to Form 3, you have the same teacher who will take you. So as a student, you are accustomed to the teaching style of this teacher. That is not what is going to happen in this system, because we are saying that when the students are on vacation, the teachers will go with them. So stream B to also come with their teachers. But they are forgetting that in the secondary subsector, it is not only teachers who are stakeholders. You have cook. So what happens to the kitchen staff? Would they also go on vacation? No. What happened to the watchman? What happened to all the ancillary administrative staff? No. You see, your focus is on the teacher. But the teacher is only 50% of how the secondary school system functions. You have glossed completely over the administrative staff. Would the Beza go on vacation?
The Beza is always in the school in spite of
you see, no. You speak.
The workman is always
Mr. Chairman, you speak of vacation. When it is vacation, they also go on vacation. And you also assuming that on Saturdays you are going to incentivize headmasters so that they can stay and supervise classes. When headmasters has become part of our socio-cultural values, that on Saturdays people attend funerals.
But you know, when you look at page 16 in the Daily Graphic newspaper, the president says that this is going to begin in September. So we are here. There's no going back.
It will
you see, Mama, it is not.
It is. You see, admitting your words. This is not good. This is not possible.
No. We are not saying.
This is a
Mr. Chairman.
When you are confronted with the situation, Mama V, the bottom line is that 200,000 children stand the risk of not attending school.
Honorable.
We will do anything possible.
Why are you not completing the existing uncompleted infrastructure?
Why? Who says you will not do it?
You are not doing it. Let me tell you.
Let me say this.
Let me tell you.
We are saying that we will securitize debt fund to finish it. It will take time, but we will do it.
Let me tell you. You have introduced a capping policy, 25%. The monies that get fund is going to get, you are clawing 25% of that back to the center. So these are policy contradictions.
It is because
you claim that you don't have money, and yet you are telling get fund that the monies you collect, I'm going to take 25% back to the center.
Yes, because we are saying that we are.
So your policies, your policies are not speaking.
Borrow money.
Are not speaking
Can
to
I
your program.
engage Mr. Pebo now? You've been observing a lot.
Let me make a small point. Let me make a small point before it comes.
We are saying that within 5 years we will finish this because we are.
So after 5 years, what happens? So we do a review.
But recently,
let me make a small point.
We are saying that we want to stop the shift system. In my constituency,
when you were speaking, I was very quiet. I was very, very quiet. You are taking my time. You are quickly away my time.
No, we are not.
The point I'm making is that when you go to Peking Secondary School, for instance, they have a dining hall that is uncompleted, about 60%. They have an administration block that is about 70% uncompleted. They have another
completed or uncompleted?
Uncompleted.
Okay.
I'm just giving you the percent. About 3 infrastructure at the stages of uncompletion. The same applies to Peking Secondary School, Peve Secondary Technical School. When you come to my village in Tongochana, they have about 5 infrastructure or classroom blocks or facilities that are at various stages of uncompletion. So we are saying that as part of your program, pay attention to completing these projects. So that it will create space for you. But they have introduced a policy. We will borrow money. They have stopped a policy. They introduced a policy
to finish all of these things.
All these projects under the pretext of reviewing the contract.
So I think it's a matter of priority, right?
Shouldn't we?
The MPP
so it's taking you 2 years to review contracts that have been awarded.
So I guess we can conclude that
matters.
For you, it's a matter of priority. They have decided to prioritize
you
this.
gave out the contract and you didn't pay for it.
Mr. Pebu, you've been observing very much. I'm sure you've been hearing.
Respectfully, Councillor, because he raised issues, let me say that in doing all of this, we are not just throwing it out there. We know the things we need to do to be able to, for the next 30 years, handle this. What we have thought of is that we will use GET fund inflows. We will borrow money against the GET fund inflows and complete all that.
You have capped GET fund. You borrow the money, you are taking 25% to the center.
Let's take a breather at
Why
this
do you
point.
want money in the center?
Mr. Pebu,
how will we pay for the
NDC,
thing?
NPP will certainly not agree.
So,
They have different ways of
we are not agreeing. We are saying that the policy, they are not thinking through properly.
You see, when you say this,
when you ask them, they cite Australia, they cite US, they cite Kenya.
Shall we hear Mr. Pebu?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, it is because they went through this. That is how come they have gotten to where they are.
No.
Education.
They put the proper infrastructure in
Let's
place.
hear Mr. Pebu.
I am telling you. You know Kenya.
Who said?
You know Australia.
I know.
Do they have this kind of facility?
Who says they don't?
Do
they even have worse sometimes?
Oh, please.
Let's hear Mr. Pebu. And then after that, we'll do the Electoral Commission. As for free SHS, we will not agree.
Okay. Yes. Basically, what it is that to the extent that we have so many of our children who need to access secondary education, it means that we should do whatever it is within our power to be able to give them the education. You say. So it tells you that this is not really an easy choice for either party. You know, when NDC was in power, they sought a World Bank loan to build some schools. I think President Mahama promised
23 schools.
To build 200, right?
Really?
And he was on it when eventually he had to leave.
We started 123 and completed 55.
No.
How many have you completed?
You have completed only 40.
No.
So the point is that, so it means that even the previous government saw it coming. The previous government saw it coming. Okay. So for me, really, the bottom line is that, well, the president is in office. That's how he's chosen to look at it. And so we should give him some space because, as I stated, even the previous government saw it coming. That's how come they went to the World Bank for that loan and started increasing access. So it's just like our independence. Somebody said within the shortest possible time, and then somebody also said now, right? So in matters like this, bottom line, it will be good for our people, it will be good for our children to access secondary education. So whatever it is that we have within our power to make sure that they access the education, we should do it. But of course, it comes with consequences. Just as now we've seen that it's tightening us. I mean, that's to say that we've taken money from elsewhere in order to be able to make it free. But I think long term, it will benefit us because
we're still on air.
Once we have more educated people, we have an educated populace, it would bring returns in other forms.
Okay. Yeah. Gentlemen, we're still on air. Now we want to talk about the Electoral Commission. It looks like quietly you're kind of agreeing on the Okay, that's it. I didn't raise it. Please. Let's talk about it.
I'm showing him the figures.
I'm also pointing the figures. And doing that now.
Players must not enroll.
Let's talk about the Electoral Commission. At least we can agree to have this conversation. So remember, let's backtrack. 28th of June 2018, President Akufo-Addo removed the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, and her two deputies, Amadou Sule and Georgina Opoku-Amankwa, from office upon the recommendation of a committee set up by the Chief Justice to investigate separate complaints brought by some Ghanaian citizens. Charlotte Osei was accused of various procurement breaches, while the deputies were also found guilty of same offences. Now, fast forward, July 23, 2018, we get the announcement that the president has forwarded 4 names to the Council of State, waiting on advice. But also remember that after the sacking or the removal of Mrs. Charlotte Osei, there were at least 2 persons that we can say now who have headed to court. The editor-in-chief of the Crusading Guide newspaper, Abdul Malik Kwekubako, he sued the government over Charlotte Osei's dismissal in a writ invoking the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court for the interpretation of the Constitution. Mr. Kwekubako argued that the Chief Justice Committee, which investigated petitions for the removal of the EC boss, exceeded its constitutional mandates. He's thus asked the Supreme Court to pronounce the removal unconstitutional. And then there's Fafali Nyonato, who's also sued the Attorney General over the removal of Charlotte Osei. So with these 2 court issues at least in mind, was it proper that the president will go ahead and make these nominations and bring these names out? We will try and find out what the various opinions are this morning. I think I want to begin with you, Mr. Pebo, because I think I read somewhere you saying that there could be some legal hurdles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it has to do with the injunction application that yes.
And that if the Attorney General had been served.
Yes, yes, definitely.
But do we know if the AG has been served?
That is it. We don't know. Okay. So yesterday, what I said, I mean, subject to that caveat that we have to verify that the AG had been served. Okay, then what I'm saying would hold. But if we don't have evidence that the AG has been served, no, we cannot say it. So what we actually stated on CTFM was that in our law, when you have an injunction application pending, okay, once it's been served, then the party to whom it is directed, that is the respondent, has to stop. Because so if A says, I want to injunct you from moving out of this building, so maybe tenant or whatever, then somebody's brought you an injunction application, so meaning that there's already a court matter, and then you add an injunction, okay, application for injunction. So whatever it is that the injunction seeks to stop you from doing, generally you have to stop if you're already in motion. Stop so that you go to the court, then the court goes into the substance, and then if the injunction is upheld, it means that you are perpetually, or I won't say interim, then you are stopped till the case is concluded. But if the court throws it out, then you're free to do what you want to do. So in the context of this case, what it is that once Fafali applied for an injunction, if only there is evidence that the Attorney General has been served, then legally the president had to stop, not go ahead with
how would we show that evidence?
Okay. So the bailiff, the persons who serve, they are called bailiffs. So when the bailiff serves, there is a form called proof of service that he fills in, and then the registrar has to stamp it. So that is the form that shows that the bailiff has been served. Of course, in law, if sometimes maybe once in a while maybe it's not been done or there's an error, the person says, no, I wasn't the one, you can challenge it. But generally, the proof of service is prima facie evidence that the person has been served until it's challenged.
Okay, so let me take you back a bit. In nominating at the time Martin Amidu as the SP, there were conversations about somebody taking an action in court as well, but the president went ahead to still nominate. Do we know at the time if the AG had been served? I mean, what's the situation?
That's a problem.
Is it similar?
That's the problem. So that one we didn't verify. So maybe perhaps moving forward, now that this is the second time, you know, you also perform a very critical role. We are private practitioners, very tight with other things, at least. So all I'm trying to say is, as part of your due diligence for us to come on the program, maybe you put questions to the Attorney General to find out whether the Attorney General had been served. Next time that it comes out, it will help, because we are constrained.
Okay, because I was just going to say that, you know, we have precedents. The president, irrespective of what we've heard is happening, whether there's a case in court or not, he still goes ahead to do his nomination, by the way.
No, but I remember one critical thing. It's not. Yeah. So I'm not talking about this one, but in our recent past, I remember when Professor Asari challenged the report of the Constitutional Review Commission. President Mahama stayed off They didn't implement. They didn't do anything about it. They waited for the case to end.
Isn't it more of a choice?
No, but it's good for our governance because we must give respect to the courts as well. So I was saying that, look, if you know that, and we all know that we are in a hurry to have the vacancies at the EC filled in. So once you receive the, if assuming you have been served, then you take steps to ask the court to abridge time. That's the Supreme Court should hear the application quickly. Yes, and it can be done because everybody knows that, oh, we need to fill the EC vacancies. So even if the date for the injunction had not been fixed, knowing that there isn't much time, we are in a hurry, they should have taken steps to have the application heard quickly. But as I said, all of this is hinged on whether, yes, the AG has been served. Okay. You say it, yes. Okay.
So that's where there could be an issue.
Exactly.
All right. I will let you have a say on that, but I also want to box it because the minority seem to be raising some issue. Is the minority and the NDC?
Yes. Now, our jurisprudence regarding the pendency of an application seeking to injunct certain conduct or action is well settled. I don't doubt that the state is aware that there is a pending application in this matter. Now, my worry is that when I saw the application, something very clear happened. The registrar of the courts wrote on the applications that a date is here to be fixed. That's how they wrote an application.
Yes.
But naturally, or what happens normally is that once you file the application, the registrar ought to find you a date.
Can I supply some information? That's what is happening. I guess now the Supreme Court is overwhelmed. So it's not only this application. A lot of them, they say date to be fixed.
No.
There's an increasing volume.
Yes.
So
but
that's why I said they should have applied to the Chief Justice for expeditious hearing.
There are established practice.
Yes.
You can't indicate on application of this nature that a date is here to be fixed. Ad infinitum.
Oh no, that one there is wrong.
No, senior.
That one.
Senior.
Let's be fair. We are officers of the court.
With all due respect to you,
but senior is saying that.
So could it be that he has not experienced that?
Hold on.
No.
I speak to established practice. What the registrar ought to do is to find the appropriate date, whether it is suitable to the party filing it or not. You are saying that this is the convenient day that the court can hear this.
But does it make a difference that
it makes a difference?
This is not just a one-off.
No,
this has
this
become
is the practice in the Supreme Court.
I haven't seen any other application yet.
In the Supreme Court.
Hold on, senior. Let's do this.
No. You see.
What is happening to the application is that it may never be heard until such time that the registrar finds a date. But this is an application seeking to injunct the president from going ahead in doing exactly what he has done. So if I were the lawyer for the state, if I were the AG, my argument would be that why? We have not been served with any application, number one. In any case, even if we have been served, the lawyer's defense in this matter, which we always make, is that, well, there's no order, there's no subsisting order. But the other argument will be, but as being officers of the court, you ought to advise your client. Then once the court says with the matter, you ought to stay your hands. So for me, it is more of a clever ploy. Yes, to allow the president the legal freedom to do this before the applications is substantively heard by the court.
You know,
no. Senior, so what we inform the Supreme Court registrar that an application, a case has been filed. Look at the reliefs. Hold on. Look at the reliefs of the application before the court. The application, the case before the court is seeking, as it were, amongst others, for the court to declare that the whole process regarding the removal of Charlotte Osei as the EC EC chairperson was wrongful in law. The entire process, among other reliefs. So that is very critical. And then she follows it up with an application seeking to inject, if indeed the president has any such intention, which clearly he has, to stop him from making any nomination and or appointment.
But how would the registrar know that the president will make this announcement within this time?
That is why. Yeah. That is why the registrar ought to fix a date. That is his duty. You don't leave the applications in abeyance.
So could it be legitimately that there was no date to give at the time?
Yeah. Why? How can you say that there was no date to give? Even if the date is in December, indicate it. That is your duty as that is why you are the registrar of the court. You plan the course activities. You can't tell me that you don't have a date. Yeah. You can't tell me that you don't have a date as the registrar for the court to hear this matter.
Okay.
So when will you get the date? Even if it is next year, indicate it.
Okay, let me, on this note,
unless the applicant feel that...
We will talk about the individuals named and what the NDC is saying and what the minority is saying. But I want to give you, Mr. Jacko, the opportunity to comment on the minority. No, we will come to that. I want you to just comment on the legal issues. Yes.
The president is a lawyer, but he's done a lot of things that are contumacious of the powers of the court.
I am so.
That's a very big word.
I am so happy you invited a lawyer here this morning. See, I'm unlearned.
But you're learning.
I'm unlearned. And I would have been in big trouble if I was here alone with Honorable Navemako. But there's a more senior lawyer here. I am comforted to hear that the practice in the Supreme Court now is that this is what they do. You see,
is it covered by practice directions? Nothing happens in the Supreme Court without practice directions.
He would not know.
Why?
He would not know.
The registrar is
I'll leave the explanation to a senior counsel.
Yes.
But you see, people always want to weave a conspiracy theory. Oh, so now at the end of the day, what they are sitting down, people like Nelson, what they are sitting down, and even the court registrar has been spoken to, and that is why he's doing this. And this is conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theory. You know, the trees have a saying, you will always want to find cause for something. I am so happy that there's a lawyer here. And he's more senior to you, and he's saying that this has become the practice of the apex court.
Covered by practice directions?
I don't know. No. I don't even know what.
I say. Senior knows what I speak of.
Official acts are presumed to be regularly done. So since this practice started, if nobody is challenging,
for how long? My brother,
been there, at least as far as I can remember, been there for about a year now. No. Where you sexual applications, those started,
but it cannot become a norm. Suddenly, a certain registrar's indecisions.
Oh no,
cannot become.
You see, Mama V, I think
that is the
what happens that the court is about. The court is now about
cases. The fact
that the Supreme Court is convenient for him.
It is convenient for him to weave.
No, the Supreme Court cannot be telling me that
it is convenient for the Supreme Court.
Yes, the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana cannot be telling me that they are overwhelmed with work.
Okay, so let's.
It is inconceivable.
Let's allow Mr. Jacobs to learn. He's using
his work.
Objective man's test.
He's not doing his administrative work.
I'm a reasonable man. The man on the street. That's how the lawyer says it. I'm a reasonable man. The man on the street.
Yes.
You see, all I'm saying is that they find it is a situation where let me say this. I'm sure that maybe he even has an application in the court and that there was no date on it, but it was very convenient for him. But now, in furtherance of their conspiracy theory, there we go. They will say it and even begin to implicate the officers of the court. And now the registrar is like this. Oh, don't you know him? He's a friend to this one. And when we look at him, he has an MPP bias. This is exactly what they are sitting here and doing. forgetting that
I am only speaking to the
Mr.
facts.
Dako, please answer this. Do you appreciate the legal concerns here?
Oh, I am saying
the reason the president perhaps should not have nominated.
Yeah, but if council was explicit, if there is something before the Attorney General, then they will be breaking, they will be disrespecting and disregarding an order from the court. What we need to do is to confirm or otherwise.
Okay. All right.
Secondly, he has raised the point.
So the Attorney General, as the principal legal advisor to the government, cannot confirm that there's an application before the court.
Please, let's
so that's you can go to court this morning to find out.
Exactly.
Lawyers have something they
the president the president is only damning the consequences.
Oh, come on.
He's only doing this damning
the president is known to be one of the best lawyers this country has had.
But his conduct so far.
The president is known to be
I want us to progress.
He is a stickler to
shall we do that?
Indeed, but his conduct so far has been contumacious on the part of the court.
Let's talk about
conspiracy.
Mr. Mebo, you wanted to say something. Let's hear Mr. Mebo, and then we'll wrap up on this and talk about the individuals. We don't have a lot of time left.
Yes, so I was saying that on this matter, because Leonard Council is insisting that the registrar didn't do his job well, I'm saying that perhaps you can send reporters to the CJ's outfit to the Supreme Court so that you can interview they have a PRO, there's a judicial secretary as well, so that they would
on the no dates situation.
Exactly, because that's been
so
the
no date syndrome.
Yes.
On the no date
so
syndrome.
That brings in that point where we're saying that let's expand the court. Now Ghanaians are becoming very conscious about their rights, so the court is mandated of so many
the
cases.
Constitution is under attack.
So
it's okay. I think this is what establishes democracy.
Exactly. So that's
a real quick one.
Why they say they are democratic countries? Virtually every line in the Constitution has been tested.
Exactly.
So a real quick one. What's the use of all the court, at least these two issues in courts, when the nomination has come out? What's the points?
So that's it. It means that the nomination has overtaken those applications more or less. Unless maybe now that since the persons are yet to, though in the Constitution they are not required to appear before Parliament. The last time, as you drew my attention, Charlotte Osei was taken to Parliament, right? So meaning that since it's not been completed, perhaps the application can still be heard. And then if there are merits, we'll see.
Mr. Dafamkwen, because the two of you are in Parliament, could Parliament also say that, well, because there's a court process, because this is the presidency deciding to do this, but should Ms. Jane Mensah come before Parliament, could you also say that because there's a possible court case, we don't want to go through the vetting?
It depends on the directions from Mr. Speaker. The committee that will, if there's an appointments committee, really and truly, it's the Speaker's committee, isn't it?
It did.
In the 6th Parliament, my experience with the Speaker then was that very many times when issues came up and we wanted it to come before Parliament, you say that the matter is sub judice. Is that how you say in the law?
Yes.
So I will not allow it to come before Parliament. I remember the Fortis loan. He told us that we had, the minority had asked for an out of a meeting. Within 1 minute, the Speaker said, I will not entertain this.
But the special prosecutor was tolerated.
No, that's the difference.
Okay.
The case against the special prosecutor in respect of his age was filed after his appointment.
Oh.
The appointment process is a process.
Okay.
When we interrogated it, it's a mere declaration of intention. In fact, when he is before the appointments committee, the president could revoke it and appoint somebody else. Those are the technical issues. So we needed him to go through the process and get confirmed before you could attack.
Okay.
But if you file the process whilst it's going through, the Supreme Court can tell you that no, he's not yet been appointed, so he can't be attacking his age. The president can change his mind. So those were the.
So are you still going to court over
the matter is also in court.
All right, that's fine.
Now,
so let's stay with this. Let's stay with your concerns.
Yes.
What's the issue with Jane Mensah?
Jane is a non-MPP woman.
Really?
Yes.
Does she have a card?
Why?
Does she have a card? Have you seen her at an MPP rally?
She may be a patron. Do you issue
have
cards to patrons?
Have you? Is she a patron for what?
So, Mr. Jacob, can we get on what basis? On what basis are you saying what you're saying?
Our position.
On what basis?
No, so why?
Our position is that in the contemplation of the framers of the Constitution regarding persons who should occupy the position of the EC chair and the deputies, the persons ought to be neutral politically.
Do you have a constitution here?
That is the constitution is there. That is.
Is it stated black and white?
No, I say the contemplation. In the contemplation of the framers.
We're not talking about the word.
You don't need a person of a political leaning to be appointed to such position.
Okay, so now let's connect.
Right.
Let's connect why she's MPP.
We are saying that Jane has more leaning towards the MPP, and so
proof.
The proof is there.
Where is it?
They have documentary evidence.
Really?
Concerning comments and circumstances that suggest strongly.
So help us appreciate what you're saying.
Why did she?
Comments such as
why?
What did she say?
We have evidence to suggest that she visits the president often.
I seen President Akufo-Addo.
Exactly.
In what capacity?
Numerous. Tell me.
In what capacity? Why she? Oh,
why would she be visiting the president? Are they acquaintance? In what capacity? We want to know.
So she visits the president frequently?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the evidence we have to suggest.
As Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo became president?
Even after that.
Okay.
Even after that.
Okay.
So we are saying that it is possible that when she occupies this position, she will not be neutral. She will not be apolitical.
Okay. So, sorry, let me just clarify. Visit private residency or the presidency?
Private residence.
Okay.
Nima Flagstaff House. Yes.
Proof of this.
Now, we have the evidence.
Okay.
We can show you.
All right.
Now, 2, Dr. Bosman. Dr. Bosman, we have...
The head of the political science department.
Yes, we have over 10 public statements attributable to him, damning the NDC and favoring the NPP.
Oh, really?
Dr. Bosman.
In his analysis, his work as...
In his analysis, in his public comments.
Okay.
As a neutral political think tank expert. So we are saying on these grounds, he cannot be neutral.
Okay, but with regards the chairperson, you give us the visitation, the frequent visitation to the presidency. Is there any more?
Regarding the chairperson?
Yeah.
We recall that due to some comments she made against the NDC and the way and manner she organized some of the programs, we boycotted IEA, you recall?
But I also do remember that
President when President Mills passed.
The NPP also, I think in the very last one,
yes,
also boycotted.
I don't recall that one.
Okay, very convenient.
All right. Oh no,
very convenient.
So for me and the minority and the NDC, we have issues against Dr. Bosman and Jean Mensa.
Okay.
I must be very frank, Mr. Tete. Is it Tete?
Tete.
Yes.
I don't know him.
He's a career electoral commission.
I don't know
person.
No, I don't know Mr.
And then
Tete.
there's a fourth one, Ajwa.
The fourth one, I know is my senior Tony Forson's wife. Very quiet woman. I don't know her political leanings. I don't.
But if you did?
Well, then it will give me a cause to worry.
Okay.
Because I know the husband very well, my very erudite senior.
But you know where he belongs as well?
My senior Tony was the former attorney general.
His father was a
former attorney general.
His father was an attorney general
and
in the
high
NDC.
former high commissioner to India and
in what regime?
In the NDC regime.
Under President Rawlings.
And that is his wife.
You know.
Okay.
Oh, you see, you are stretching the matter.
Oh, you stretch.
You are talking about. Hold on.
You are talking about stretch.
The question you should be asking is that what is the political leaning of the appointment?
You are talking about stretch.
All right. Then what is the political leaning, for instance, of the husband, Mr. Tony Forson?
You are talking about stretch.
You understand? But if you want to talk about the father-in-law who has died, whose funeral is, I think it's this weekend.
No, it was last weekend.
Oh, I see. whose funeral was just last weekend.
So these are the concerns.
Yes.
Okay.
So
based on that,
as for Mrs. Forson, I don't know her political name.
So based on that, she does not deserve to be chairperson of the Electoral Commission.
Jean.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. And Dr. Asari Bosman?
She should not go near Electoral Commission.
All right. Can I come to Mr. before I come to you? Yeah. What do you make of the concerns being raised by at least these two persons included in the lists?
Okay, so basically what I say is that, because we are, one nation, we are all Ghanaians, generally, when these things come, I think we should listen to them. We should try to give it the best consideration that it needs to be. Because we all know very well that the EC is such a critical governance institution. The EC is the midwife of our elections. So generally you would want somebody who stands tall, generally somebody who stands above partisan considerations. So let's interrogate the concerns that they are raising and find whether there is merit, you see, because that's how come that prior to this appointment, I'd been here, several other platforms.
Even the broader consult.
The president even started it when he was in opposition. So we thought that, then now that he's in power, then it makes it easy because he was one of the front runners.
So can I ask you a straight question then? Did you feel that was done, the broader consultation?
Absolutely.
I think you particularly mentioned Gabi.
Absolutely
and what he had to say.
Yeah, absolutely no, because the president had set the bar. He said broad, open, so broad and open consultations. So to the extent that
he used broader.
He said broader. Yes, the University of
and
Cape
wider consultations.
When he was addressing this,
where memorandum could be invited and all.
Yes, and then apart from that one. Apart from talking to students at the University of Cape Coast, there were other platforms. So apart from the president, I think Gabi Ochiridaku, whom I mentioned the other day, Macmenu, they were actually kind of throttling Mahama those days. I remember it was all over. So even Samson had to write a piece that, the president is not bound. And it's because of the way, and we all joined in because we thought that, look, let's expand the frontiers of our democracy. So to be candid, what is happening is a slap in our face. It's a slap in our face. Next time, I think that, look, they should actually engage civil society openly. This country belongs to all of us. You don't set the bar, you get into office and then quickly throw it into the dustbin. It's not good.
Mr.
Jacob, very candid.
That's like a post-swerve. You say one thing,
exactly. I like that. It's dribbling. Look, maybe can I read out what happened?
Some names were.
He says that, look, this is the quotation. The Ghanaian president under the that's not it. Yes, the president addressing students at the University of Cape Coast on the appointment of the new Electoral Commission board requires vigorous consultation. That is a direct quote. In many, many other jurisdictions across the world, whoever successfully emerges as the head of the Electoral Commission is put through a rigorous selection procedure which includes wide stakeholder consultations, vetted by a committee, often in public, and finally approved by a special majority. I will respectfully urge the president to abide by the Constitution and allow the Council of State to do its work openly and transparently, he stated. That's one of them.
So who is this?
So this attributed to the president.
Okay. When he was a candidate.
Yes. Okay. So they asked for wide, open,
okay. Very well.
Mr. Jaco, you have the last say on this. After you, we've ended the conversation.
First of all, I'll start with where they are coming from. The president went out of his way and said, I will do this. First and foremost, I want to establish whether somebody has come up to say that we don't know anything about this. Maybe Councillor Kpebu does not. But let us see whether...
I don't.
You are NDC.
It's not surprising that you don't.
Maybe. If everybody then comes out to say that...
do you?
Oh, I am part of the party.
Do you?
I am not in the National Executive
Wider consultations.
And he doesn't need to come and speak to me. He doesn't need to come and speak to me. But we are all, he's reading. civil society organizations and all of this. I'm sure that he spoke to some civil society organization people. I am sure. But even beyond that, there is scope. He says that when the person is appointed, he should be open for interviews and all of this.
The selection. So in context, once you bring the word selection, presumably meant before he's appointed. But this
well,
you know, sometimes
we have 1 minute to land and it's a wrap.
But I think that like we are doing here, she has been nominated.
That's not too late. Have we ever seen somebody nominated and then the thing reversed?
In any case, if people
you set your own exam and write it and give yourself an A.
Mr. Jaco, please land.
I'm loving. But you know, I am tickled by the positions taken by my honorable colleague here. The woman goes to the president's house. Is that?
Yes. Too close for comfort.
That is your thoughts. She is head of one of the leading think tanks in this country. Okay. She is head, so she should, if there are issues, and everybody knows.
Which is MPP dominated and of
all right.
MPP.
You know,
we have to end the conversation
I don't want. We have gone through this, and when Charlotte Osei was appointed, we all know what happened.
You know, IEA was once chaired by
and oh, okay. So you should have appointed who?
I say it was once chaired by.
It was not chaired. Darocha was.
I will have to say thank you to you, gentlemen, for being here.
It was not chaired.
I know that this conversation is ending here, but it will continue.
In any case,
so thank you.
I think that the president has made a good choice.
Very bad choice.
If anybody thinks that there are issues with it, like we're saying here, the courts are here. If you find if there are issues,
go to court.
Go to court.
All right.
We are ready.
Thank you, gentlemen. Two members of parliament and a private legal practitioner. Mr. Martin People, thank you for time. Mr. Jaco, thank you. Mr. Dafamoko, stay with us. Roland Walker is standing by. He's with the Minister for Inner Cities and Zongo Development, Alhaji Abubakar Siddiq. Amongst other things, they're talking about the shooting and killing of 7 in Asawase recently.
Change standards. Honorable.
Oh, you guys, you are
a scientist. You change standards.
You are fine.